Fear is one of the things to avoid in your life, because fear will stop you dead in your tracks. Your fear will stop you in your life from doing the things that you want to do, and it will stop you from moving forward in your life. Fear, if left to fester, it will well up in you and it will take you over. And if you're not careful, your fear can put you down. It can push you down, knock you down. It can knock you down, right down to the floor. And it will keep you down there, and it will stop you from ever getting up again if you're not careful. That's what it can do to you, fear, if you let it. So the secret is to control your fear, to never let it get the better of you. Fear is a clever enemy, and make no mistake, fear is an enemy, because anything that can do you harm is an enemy, and fear can do you real harm, real harm. Now, fear is clever, it's smart, because it uses your thoughts, your mind to act against you, and it uses your imagination. And remember that your imagination is really powerful, so powerful that it can make fear feel real, seem real to us, so that we can see it in our mind's eye, so that we can smell it. We can actually feel fear, can't we? Even when the fear is not real, when it's not there, when it doesn't exist. We can even get a physical response to it. When your blood runs cold, when your breath shortens, and when the hairs go up on the back of your neck, and when your goose pimples come out, that's fear. And you know it, don't you? Because you've experienced it. Fear is so powerful that it can literally scare us to death. It can literally scare us to death. It can stop us from doing things that can lead us to achieve, things that can literally save our life. Fear, it stops us from doing stuff. Fear stops us from achieving. Fear can ruin your health. Fear can ruin your and my lives. And as we know, often, very often, the fear we experience is unfounded, that there's no truth to it. There's no substance to it at all. How many times have you put off doing something? You've ignored it, or you've pushed it to the back of your mind because of fear, only to discover that when you actually confronted your fear, there was nothing there. Or even worse, you let fear get the better of you, and you never did it because you never confronted your fear. I heard this story about a prisoner of war who was being kept in an extermination camp, and he knew that when he was selected that he would never come back, because he had seen many of his companions, many of his fellow soldiers get selected, and they never came back. When his time came, when he was selected, he was taken to a room, and he was given a choice by the camp commander to either get shot in the morning or to take his chances and go through the door that was at the back of the room. The man, he spent the night thinking on it, obviously very carefully thinking on it, and not knowing what was on the other side of the door, not knowing if there was a greater fear there, a greater fear than actually being shot. In the morning, he decided to get shot, and so he was shot. Now, one of the secretaries, not knowing herself what was behind the door, she asked the commander, "What's behind the door?" And he replied, "Freedom. Freedom's behind the door." Sometimes the fear of the unknown can be overwhelming. Now, some fears are good for you, they're good for me, they're there to protect us. Some fears are put in us by life, by the universe. Fear of heights, fear of fire, fear of violence, they're all good examples, aren't they? Some fear is there to give us adrenaline to give us the energy to get over the hurdles, to keep on going. But most fears that we experience are unfounded. Most fear has no truth to it at all. Remember this, that fear is just a bully. And most often, when confronted, it often just like a bully does, runs away. Here is some good advice when fear comes knocking at your door. Let positivity open the door, because fear runs away in the face of positivity. A great saying that I want to share with you again, and it's a saying from a great coach, Dr. Spencer Johnson, and the saying is from his world-renowned book, Who Moved My Cheese? And the saying is, what would you do if you were not afraid? Ask yourself this at any time when you are confronted by some challenge, an offer, an opportunity, or by some task. And if that comes your way and you're feeling the fear, ask yourself, what would you do if you weren't afraid? For example, when I was 15 and I was at Redbridge Secondary School in Southampton, big shout out for my old school, Redbridge Secondary School in Southampton, there was a young lady in my year that I really wanted to ask out, and she was lovely. And I knew that she liked me too. But I was one of the big cheeses in my year at the school, and I was scared to ask her out. And fear got a hold of me in case she said no, and in case I should be shown up and my ego would take a hit. So I never did ask her out, because fear did get the better of me and I lost out because of it. So we can all get caught out by fear. We can let it get a hold of us and slow us down and hold us back and stop us, even if it is irrational to us, even when we know that there is no basis for it. Sometimes we can let fear get a hold of us and stop us from doing the right thing, from doing the very things that can really help us, or that can actually save our lives. And that's what's happening to me right now. For a couple of weeks, I've been experiencing pain in my lower stomach, and it's been bothering me, and I'd spoken to my wife Tracy about it. Well, one morning, a few weeks ago, I was sitting in my front room drinking coffee and talking with my wife, and the postman rocks up to the front door and delivers some letters. And I got up and got the letters and sat back down with them and started to open them as Tracy and I talked and drank our coffee. And one of the letters that I received was this letter, sent to me from the National Health Service, yes, the good old National Health, the NHS, and it was a very welcome letter for me to receive indeed. This letter informed me that because I am a man of a certain age and I live in a certain area, that I've been invited into hospital for a lower bowel screen. Fantastic! I said to Tracy, who looked at me with a surprised and a very pleased expression on her face. I think it was surprised and pleased because of my positive response to this letter. I said to Tracy, this is just what I need. This has come just at the right time for me. And I said to Tracy, I said to my wife, I'm gonna get myself to hospital and I'm gonna get that done. Boom, fantastic. Then I turned over the page and I saw these pictures on the page. I saw this picture of a man's bum with a tube stuck up his bum. And I saw this picture of a man laid on his side with a lady nurse sticking a tube up his bum. And I said to Tracy, to my wife, there is no way I'm having that done. No way on this God's given earth that I'm going to have that done to me. And this has caused a lot of discussion. It's caused a lot of bad feeling, and I have to say a lot of laughter in my house at my expense, which I do not think is very funny, because my family, they have all joined in together. They've all ganged up on me. And they are all telling me that I have to have it done. And I'm telling them to leave me alone. That it's none of their damn business what I get up to and what I do and what I say yes to and what I say no to. But they're not listening to me. My problem is that my fear, it's got a hold of me. Fear is running amok inside of me, and I'm out of control with fear. It's a fear of showing off my bits. Ooh, it's a fear of getting a tube stuck up my bum. A fear of something going up and in where there has only ever been things coming down and coming out. And I can tell you it's been giving me some stress. And I've shut down on the problem. And this letter that I've received from the good old NHS has stayed on my bedside table. I can tell you that. It's been stayed on my bedside table for a number of weeks. But it's been calling to me and it's been talking to me like my old homework used to do when I used to ignore it, when I knew that I should be getting on with it. It would keep jumping up and down and keep on talking to me. And you know what? The hospital, to rub in my agony, has the audacity to ask me to phone them to confirm that I'm going to attend and get this thing stuck up my bum. I'll tell you this, they're going to be waiting for a long time, methinks. One side of my brain tells me that this is a must do, that it's just a common procedure, that loads of people do it, and the nurses, God bless them, each and every one of them, they do it every day and they've seen it all before. On the other side of my brain, it screams at me, well, you ain't seen or done this before. Pick your legs up, run for the hills as quick as you can, boy. Get going. And my wife, she just keeps on at me trying to get me to make the appointment. And I keep saying to her, leave me alone. All my kids are saying, make the appointment. And I keep saying, leave me alone. Sulking seems to keep them at bay at times, but all the time I'm thinking, should I, shouldn't I? And I keep saying to myself, David, grow up. You're a 55-year-old man. You're a man. Be a man. Make the appointment. And then Mr. Fear says, on the other hand, oh, I wouldn't do that. Don't do that. Just ignore it and it'll go away. Fear has given me loose lips. These lips, that's the lips I'm talking about. The other lips, they're way, way closed tight, I can tell you. I've had loose lips at work. I've been talking about my little problem, about my decision that I got to make in all of the stores and all of the people that work in them, because I'm just looking for someone who will see my point of view. There's someone to say, yeah, I know what you mean, Dave. Don't do that. No, you don't need to do that. But you know what? So far, no one sees my point of view. My son showed me a video of a man having a lower bowel check, a bum check done in front of a live audience. And the audience, I can tell you, they were laughing at the start of it, they were laughing in the middle of it, and they were laughing at the end of the procedure. And I said to Michael, this is just not helping. I said to my wife, I'm going to phone them and I'm going to tell them to push the appointment to the end of the year because I'm on holiday at the appointed time that they've given me. And my wife, Tracy, said to me, but we ain't booked a holiday yet, mate. And I said, I don't care. I'm not going to do it. And she said, yes, you're going to go. Dr. Spencer Johnson asked a question in his book, Who Moved My Cheese? That I spout about all of the time, that I quote to loads of people all of the time. What would you do if you weren't afraid? But on this point, on the point of my bum check, I'm finding it difficult, I can tell you, to get past my fear, to make the call, to confirm the appointment, let alone to turn up and get it done. Ooh. So I'm working on my fear, and I'll let you know how it goes and whether I go. Now, the point of this video is to share the fact that no matter who you are, no matter how old you are or how experienced you are or how ugly you are, there are times when fear can get a hold of you and hold you back and stop you from moving forward and doing what's right, even if it can help to save your life. And another point of this video is to share my journey on this thing with you, because it just might help other people to get past their fears, especially where their health is concerned. So I will keep you updated on this, and the only thing that I can say, the only thing that's left to say, it is a real bummer.